Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Put a one in the chat if you can. AB Media, the first one in the building. Shout out to you. We are not camming up for today's show.
Mother has rollers in her hair.
Why would you tell them that?
Because I can. Why not?
We could have just left it at we're not camming up. But hey UFO kamikaze. Hey the cynical one. The usual suspects are in the building, so I guess that means we can begin. So today's stream, oh, Paul Wilson said you are loved and appreciated. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Um, so today's stream is about locks. And I felt like who better to have the conversation with than my mother? Earlier in the week, you may or may not have been privy to this conversation because I talked to you guys about a conversation I had with a coworker, which is what sparked my desire to have a larger conversation. Make a long story less long, my coworker was adamant about telling me that black men do not prefer black women with locks and that I'm probably doing myself a disservice. I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically was getting at I'm probably doing myself a disservice by having locks, being a single person that who is seeking an intimate relationship with a man, a black man specifically. And my response to that was just to let him get that off, to see where he was coming from, but also to say, BGS said, Mom is back. Yeah. Hey, BGS. Um, but my response to him was basically to say, if there's a guy who is vehemently against my wearing of locks, then he is not for me, and I'm okay with that. I'm so confident in what it is that I have to offer beyond the physical that I would much rather be chosen for that than not chosen for having locks. Um, and so it was really interesting to me because he felt very strongly about it. Now, this is a man who is probably in his early 50s, if I had to guess. He's from the tri-state area, grew up, I think, in the Bronx, lives now in New Jersey with his girl. Now, I'm only bringing this up because he also intimated to me in a different conversation that he has a girl who wears lashes and weave and has also undergone getting a BBL. And so it isn't lost on me that his affinity for that look is why my look is maybe triggering to him. And probably is why he had the opinion that black women with locks is not preferred. He's like, I talk to a lot of men, a lot of black men do not like black women with locks because it signifies, this genre that you're a part of. And, it comes with all these other things. And, it might mean that you just gave up and you don't want to spend the money on getting your hair done and you're broke. And that's what it looks like to us. You're broke. You don't get your lashes done. You don't get your hair done.
That is not my type of man.
Yeah. And so as he's going on and on, I'm like, I'm gonna let him hang himself because I don't
want that kind of man.
Right. But I'm not likely to change my stance on it. Right. And so even though he was leading up to, I think you should do your hair differently, he never actually said that because I said, I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you. I know where you're going with this. I'm too strong in my spot now to change it. Now, does that mean I'm going to be wearing locks for the rest of my life? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But what I can say is that since I've started wearing my locks, I have a sense of freedom that I don't think I've ever felt before, even with having a loose natural. And so that's not something that I'm willing to relinquish because of your ignorance or anyone else's, therefore. So that's when I took the conversation in another direction. And I said, I think it's a lot of ignorance surrounding what locks mean and their upkeep that makes some men be anti them. So then that's when I said, I want to talk to my mom about this because my mom has had locks for most of my life.
30 years.
Like I said, most of my life. And so I felt like with her having, and I spoke about this on my YouTube, you didn't know this, but I spoke about how growing up, your phenotype was preferred amongst many different races of men. You are, for lack of a better word, racially ambiguous to men outside of the diaspora.
That's true. I received that.
And so when you wore your hair straight, my mom's light skin with light eyes and light hair that she wore straight. She's got a long set of legs and she's always been relatively thin. And so for most men, that fits the conventional standard of beauty. So when you made the decision to start locking your hair, it was like you were looking at that in the face and saying, keep it, I don't want it.
Absolutely. 100% why I locked my hair. Not to mention, there's a story behind the start of it. Do you want me to share that
Sure.
now? Everything that Junior just said is correct. I didn't want men to be attracted to me because of the stereotype. I was fully aware of why most men were attracted to me. I fit this ambiguity that Toya described. But then in September of 1995, I had the pleasure and honor of hosting Maya Angelou at Montclair Library. Um, when she met me, we had a discussion about having my daughter because she too was a young mom under the same type of circumstances. When I shared that with her, she stopped me. She looked at me. She looked at my hair and asked me, why was I perming my hair? Do I understand what I'm doing when I put those chemicals in my follicles? She took the time, Maya Angelou, this is a true story. Maya Angelou took the time to say to me, don't do that to yourself. Wear your hair natural. Find the beauty in you naturally. Don't care about what other people think. 1995, okay? 1995. The next day, I went and cut all of my hair off and began my natural journey. I did not intend to lock my hair. What wound up happening is I started double twisting my hair. I don't know if you know what that is. Look it up. I don't want to describe it. But I started double twisting my hair, and I love the bounciness and the look of that. And one of the things that Maya said started becoming real for me. I started feeling more beautiful than I ever felt before, naturally. Circle back to what Toya said. What this gentleman was saying to Toya, whether we like it or not, is a reality. Um, Men don't like women mostly with locks. They don't find it aesthetically pleasing. It's not attractive. I knew I didn't want those men anymore. I knew I wanted a man that looked at me for me and saw beauty in me naturally. I don't want to throw on makeup. I don't want to throw on lashes. I don't want lipstick. I don't want that to be the reason that you think I'm beautiful. And I think I could leave it there.
And it's a heavy burden to bear, honestly. And I'm speaking out on the outside looking in because we don't have the same phenotype, right? But I can only imagine what it feels like to have so much of your worth tied up into your appearance that you have to actually make the intention
Yes.
and the decision to thwart that.
Yep.
Now, you can't change your eye color. You can only minimally change your skin color by tanning as much as you can. Because my mom can't really tan. It's cute when she tries. It's cute when she tries,
oh
but
my God, I thought I was doing.
no, you.
Toya, I do come in nice and copper.
No,
Oh my God.
no, you get a little dusty and then you peel off. That's what happens.
So I gotta
It's
be
okay.
dusty.
Yeah, when you get a tan, you look dusty.
Oh,
You look like you've been playing in sand. Nana gets a better tan than you do, and she's lighter than you.
Yes, that's crazy. Here,
But when I
was
get a
doing
tan,
something.
I get a tan.
You have more melanin.
I
than me.
do. That's all I'm saying. I'm just making the distinction.
I really thought I was doing something when I get tan.
Yeah, well.
Anywho.
Anyway, so like the cynical one says, her mother has beige skin and green eyes, and she used to wonder if people would have felt the same way if her eyes were brown. And it's something about that. It's something about having a different color eyes that sets everything else off.
It does, because it shows that there's something else going on there.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I'm not going to go into, because I have my own theory.
Mm-hmm.
But the men that are attracted to that otherness
Mm-hmm.
doesn't belong to me.
Right.
I don't want that. I don't want you to find me beautiful because I'm light skinned with light eyes and light hair.
Right.
I'm this exotic creature.
Right.
But yet I'm still black. You still can get the black card,
Mm-hmm.
but you look, enough over here that I'm also getting that. That's not the kind of man that I want.
Mm-hmm.
That is not who I want to love up on me. No, thank you. Bye.
Yep. And for me, it wasn't that I had that coming to it for the choice that I made in terms of having locks. For me, it just was like I said before, for most of my life, my mom has had locks. And although I was very clear on why she started and decided, I don't think that it was as obvious to me back then, or that I even had the ability to articulate what she just said. I just knew from being her daughter and being around when men would show interest in her, and like just taking notice of how she was received, that started to change. And so, for me, it was like, okay, that's my mom's thing. It wasn't my thing. And it didn't really affect me. Also, what I said before about the way I used to wear my hair, it was about self-expression. So growing up, I very much enjoyed changing my hair a lot to express myself. And so then it was like, as I got older and that desire kind of started to dissipate, and I wouldn't take so many chances with my hair. I talked about it earlier in the week. I went natural in high school, then got a perm again and went natural again in college. Then I got a perm once I graduated, and then I went natural again in corporate America. And I have been wearing my hair natural for a while before I decided to actually lock it this time 2 years ago.
Tell them why you didn't want to lock your hair before.
I was about to.
Oh.
I was just about to, because I said this earlier too. You didn't know this, but a lot of what I said in my stream earlier this week, you just said. So I feel good about that, because it means that I was right on the target. But I didn't want to look exactly like my mother, because I knew if I locked my hair, I would look even more like her. I already know how much I look like her. She calls me Junior for a reason.
We got it tattooed, you guys.
Yeah, it's not just that I'm her daughter that makes me Junior. It's that I look a lot like her. I sound a lot like her. I move about
like me.
I was about to say I move about the world a lot like her. So I think if you were to see me away from my mother, you would still know I belong to my mother if you knew my mother. But 2 years ago, something started to shift for me while I was in Texas, and coming to terms with the fact that my being in Texas was not where I was supposed to be, that I started to realize, okay, not only do I have to stop running away from what it is I don't want to be, or don't think is for me, but now I have to embrace it. And so my locking my hair was a decision I made towards that end of not only accepting where I come from and who I am, but embracing that on the deepest of levels. So removing those things that were distracting from that. And so I really do feel like it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in life. I said earlier, I feel a sense of freedom that I've never felt before, because I don't even think about my hair anymore.
That's a big deal for her.
It is
a huge deal.
Yeah, and I, for the record, was never a weave wearer.
No. But you were definitely
I would change
when it came to your hair.
I would change my hair as often as I felt the need, or when something in my life would happen. I would cut it off, or change the style, or braid it up, or I've dyed it a couple times.
What's interesting is, I want to kind of go back to what you talked. What's interesting in this guy at your job making the comment, they would much prefer the lashes, the weaves, the wigs, than a woman showing up in the natural essence of her being.
Right.
If there are any guys in the audience, I want to understand that if you can relate to that. Like, I want honesty about that. Like, why would you prefer something that you have to put on and take off versus something that is just authentically who you are?
And don't be afraid to click the link because we'll talk to you one on one about it.
1000%. This is me as a woman of a certain age inquiring, really wanting to know.
And me too. I want to know too. That's what made me want to have this conversation because I was like, he's so adamant about there being this large contingency of Black men who don't prefer this. And I found it hard to believe because my experience has been very different.
Mm,
But to your point, in general, I think it's true that a lot of
yes.
men don't want that in terms of men being visual creatures. So I get that. I'm not trying to take away from that. But I think our brothers in general don't have a problem with it. Would they prefer a woman made up and, whatever? Maybe.
Listen, I'll put on eyeshadow and lipstick for an
Sometimes.
occasion.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be my everyday because I want you to know that who you sleep with when you wake up, she the
That's
same
right.
bitch. She's that same. Here she is.
Yeah, that's how
Here
I
she
feel
is.
too.
And I just want to say to the women in the audience, there's something so refreshing about getting up in the morning and not being bothered. Oh my God, what do I look like?
Mm-hmm.
I know what I look like. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if I feel beautiful when I go to sleep, I'm going to feel even more beautiful when I wake up because I'm my most beautiful in the morning. You know,
How can you meet yourself in the mirror if what's staring back at you is not you?
right. I have to put something on to become something or someone.
Right.
No, 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 no. This is who I am. And I feel beautiful. And if I project that, even the men that mostly don't like women with locks, I've dated brothers who don't date women with locks, who have now looked at me and said, but you're different. Well, why am I different? I'm not different.
Because you light skin.
No, probably. I'm going to receive that. I'm going to receive that. I'm going to receive that. But the way that I did feel when I heard that is because locks isn't what you thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I keep my hair neat.
Mm-hmm. Clean.
I keep my hair clean, but there's this myth that locks are dirty and funky.
Mm-hmm. And some people's are.
And my mission, I don't know that I have a mission, but if in the process of me being authentically who I am shifts someone's train of thought and breaks a myth, my work here is done.
But also, if you don't want to meet me halfway, stay over there.
Stay over there. I'm good because you're not for me.
Right.
Again, I'm being clear. What you see is truly telling you from the onset who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not aligned with that, carry on.
And that's basically what I said to him. I'm going to bring AB Media into the conversation in a moment, but that's basically what I said to him in response, that I'm so confident in my spot that I want to show up that way and you to receive me that way. While I don't have any control over how you perceive me, what I do have control over is what I present. And so I'm always going to present me unabashedly who I am. So AB Media, thanks for joining us. What say you on the topic?
I guess he likes to waste his money.
Uh-oh, I don't hear him.
Me either. I said me either. Hello, we're sitting right here.
Can you hear me?
Let's see why I don't hear him.
Hello? Okay, I'm on. Can you hear me?
I'm not sure why we can't hear you, AB Media.
Let me see.
Oh, well, maybe he'll come back. But maybe it's also our settings. I don't think I've used this laptop before to do this, so that might be my bad. Oh, everything's working.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's why. Let's do this. because the speakers are connected to the microphone, and we don't have auxiliary speakers. That's what it is. All right, let's try this again. Say something.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh dear.
They have auxiliary speakers for the MacBook.
We heard you, but they didn't. Oh yeah. See, the audience can hear AB Media, but we can't hear them.
Oh.
Oh well.
Ooh.
We'll have to figure that out another time. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Can
I'm
you
not
put in
sure.
the chat the
Yeah,
gist of what you're saying? Because I'm so curious.
yeah. Please.
Do you want to try and switch over to the MacBook
But do you see?
temporarily?
No, because that's
Okay.
gonna.
Okay.
But you see how when I'm pressing test, it's not playing anything. You can't hear anything, and I don't see volumes up.
There's
Okay. Can you
speakers
hear me?
over there that you can plug in.
All right. Here's what I'll do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry about that, AB Media. I definitely wanted to hear what you had to say. But anyway, we can continue the conversation. He said, so he wants to waste his money, huh? Well, I don't know that. I don't know that he pays for his girlfriend's upkeep like that. But the way he explained it to me was that he wants to see her looking a certain way. But he also said that she wasn't physically his type, but that he's at a point in his life where he can accept that for all the other things that she does for him.
Oh wow.
Right. And so, that's a whole nother
Yeah, she
conversation.
can have him.
She sure can. She sure can. But typically he looks more like you. He's light skinned with light eyes.
And you know what? There's a privilege that comes to men with that.
Right.
They don't have to do the work because they know that the women will come.
Right.
Again, circle back to why I locked. I wanted to do the work. I don't want men to be with me. I don't want to be able to just get men because I look a certain way. I wanted to do the work on myself and show up in a way that I put out what I wanted to receive. But you get there, you get there. Like,
You do.
that's what growth is. No shade to these people that are stuck in that space, but eventually you do get there. My prayer is that sooner rather than later.
Right. Now, my question to you is, what was the difference that you experienced with reference to how men approached you once you were fully in? Because I feel like I want you to answer in three parts. Before you locked your hair, how did men approach you? When you first started, meaning when right around the time we were on Rolanda and you had them very short, and then once you were well into your lock journey, what was the differences each stage?
The first stage. Repeat your question for the first
Before
stage.
you had locks at all.
The first stage is the reason I locked. I began to realize that men were really attracted to me because I projected something. I projected this otherness. I wasn't like the other women around me. Light skin, my hair was very light when I was younger. Very light. Dirty blonde, hazel green eyes, light skin, tall, size 8. So I was getting men on what I physically represented. And it took a minute to realize that. But it was hurtful to come to that realization, but that's what it was. The second stage, when I was on Rolanda and they were short, oh boy, that's like the best part of locking your hair. Oh my God. Okay, so how can I describe that? Long story, less long. Cut all of my hair off, had these little, I want to keep stressing 1995, not easy to do what I did. The world wasn't ready for that necessarily. So they were very short, little knots. And again, I'm projecting who I am. I'm light skinned, light hair, light eyes, tall, size 8. I got a lot of, why would you do that to yourself? I got a lot of, it would be even better if you just pick those twists out. I got a lot of, that's like yellow going to waste. You light skin and you wasting it. Yes, yellow going to waste. You light skin and you wasting all that light skin on twisting your hair and locking your hair. And all that did for me was, okay, yeah, I'm going further. Oh, I'm not taking, oh no, I'm not stopping here. Like, yeah, I don't have the words to describe how I felt, but I was super confident when I showed up on the Rolanda show, and I'm showing the world, yes, what you think light skin, light eyes, and all the aesthetics mean. I'm about to show you, no, no. And what you try to shame me on, no, I'm not ashamed. Very confident, and I was ready. And I have to be honest that I had a Cheryl McCoy. She's a woman who, she was my boss. I'm gonna be honest. She was my boss, and she had locks down to her shoulders at that point. So she had started way before me, and she's a professional. She's the director of the institution in which I work and worked for. And she had locks, and she would tell me, how to find my confidence in this journey that I was on. So my confidence came from her reassurance and her direction. And as I moved further into the third stage, where I got the length, where I can swing my hair back and forth, where I can put it up in a ponytail, I got confused again because I started assimilating what long hair meant without locks. In other words, the longer the hair, the more beautiful you are. The longer the hair, the more attractive you are. So that was another thing. That was another step back into a journey of remembering why you started this in the first place. I love the length, but the length then became, there was a fourth journey for me. The length became um, more about how far could I take this? How long could my hair grow? How much could I do with this? And it came as a consequence. It was an aesthetic consequence, but I wound up with traction alopecia. Um, the weight of my hair. My hair ultimately at its longest was under my butt cheeks. And I finally cut them. And now I cut
And
them
she's
on
not exaggerating, y'all.
No, I'm not.
I was present for that length of hair. As a matter of fact, the other day I just helped trim her locks for the umpteenth time because they're down the middle of her back, but she trims them more often now.
Yeah, it's not about the length for me.
All right,
anymore. So thank you guys for hearing my story.
We have Third Ward Colombian in the building. I am going to use these because I can hear out of them. So I want him to speak. I'm going to unmute your mic, Third Ward.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay. I know y'all was having issues earlier. Okay. Shout out to you, Toya, and good afternoon to you, Mama Toya, as well. Nice to be able to talk to y'all. As far as this topic, personally, I'm more of the type of guy that I prefer the natural aesthetics type of woman, natural hair, all of that. But I'm also not against a woman, I guess, wearing like weave or wig, depending on like, because I understand like some women they wear, until their hair grows out to the length that they want it to be, so I get that also. My only thing is, if a woman is wearing like a wig or a weave, just as long as it kind of like looks similar to her own natural hair, I personally don't have an issue with it. It's for me, it's when women get like the weaves that don't look like their natural hair, and then they get like the crazy different colors and stuff like that. Like to me, that's when I think it kind of becomes a little too much for me personally. But other than that, like I said, I'm more of the natural type. I like women with dreads. I think women with dreads are very beautiful, very sexy, and I don't have an issue with it. But I understand that that's not something that's for every man. Some men don't like it. Some men don't find it appealing, and I guess it just depends on the type of person that you are. But I also think that when it comes to women and whatever hairstyle they choose for themselves, I think another thing that plays a factor in a role is also kind of like like the shape of your face, your facial symmetry, stuff like that. That kind of can play a role into it too. Because I like, okay, so for instance, my mom, she has a best friend that's I call her like a aunt because she's been around since I was a child. And I've seen her with long hair, and it's not that she doesn't look good with long hair, but she looks better with short hair. Like for some reason, short hair just looks better on her, because of the type of face and shape that she has. You know, it just short hair just looks better on her for whatever reason, and it'd be like that sometimes. Sometimes you got some women that could look good with both long or short hair, or one or the other. It just depends, like I said, on a number of factors, facial shape, and other things as well. So it just really just depends.
Yeah, and to your point, I think uh, women do ourselves a disservice by trying to fit into this mold. Yeah, but when you relent and you let your hair do what it naturally does, it tends to look the best on you, whether that be short or long. Now, third, I have a question. As a man, speaking with other men, what have you found in your conversations that most men are more attracted to in terms of how women present themselves?
You mean as far as like their hair is concerned?
Yeah, just in general. Like, what
Oh,
do you
okay.
feel like most men are like? They going. If you have this and this, they going.
Honestly speaking, I think as long as the woman is attractive to the man, I don't think the hair type necessarily matters. But I do think that there are men out here like myself who, like I said, prefer more of the natural type of looking woman, and then you have some on the other end that they want more of a woman with long straight hair, and if their woman doesn't have that naturally, they'll pay for them to go get their hair did, or get a weave or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I think it really just depends on the type of man that you're dealing with. But I would say you have a lot of brothers out there who like more of the natural type of look. Especially like nowadays, I'm starting to see more sisters kind of go more for the natural look. Even if they're just like in the beginning stages or something like that. So personally, I'm gonna just give like a quick little story. So the last person that I was in a long term relationship with, when I met this individual, she, her hair was like very long, but also at the same time it was long but it was thin because she was getting a lot of Dominican blowouts and stuff like that, like every month, every other month, she'd be in the Dominican salon getting the blowouts or whatever. So it got to a point to where her, even though she had very long hair, like almost pretty much to her butt, it was starting to thin because she was putting too much heat to it and too much chemicals. She was still perming her hair, and so it got to a point to where when me and her first got together, like probably within that first year, she was like, I want to go natural. She was like, what do you think about this? Like, would you be supportive of me, doing the big chop and all of that? And, or would you be embarrassed? And I'm like, yeah, I'm supportive of it. Like, like I'm with you, not because of your hair, but I'm like, if it's going, if you got to cut it most of it off in order for it to grow back out healthy and thicker, then, I'm with it. I'm down with it. And I remember this one particular day, me and her were both off from work, and she was in the bathroom, and I came in there, and she and I just watched her do the big chop like right in front of me. I was just like, I just stood there kind of like shocked because she had, like I said, she had really long hair, but it was thinning. And then she just cut it all off, and she had to like start off with she had like the little twists and stuff. I guess some people might call them like the struggle twist or whatnot. And
Yeah.
I was with her throughout all of that. Now eventually, of course, as the years went by, her hair grew out and became healthier, stronger more than ever. But I was there from when she first cut it off, and it was many days where she didn't feel like her best, or feel like she was like the best looking because of that. But I was there for her throughout all of that, kind of remind her like, hey, it's gonna be all right. Your hair gonna grow. you still look good. It's just, right now you're just going through a hair transition, and it is what it is. But I've been there and seen that before, so I understand what women have to go through in order to start over and like completely go natural and stuff like that.
How did she wind up? What was her hair like ultimately, or where is she now?
Well, I haven't spoken to her some years because we were broken up for some years. But when we were last together, her hair actually grew. It was like pretty much to like the middle of her back, and it was a lot healthier, a lot thicker. Cause
Naturally,
yeah,
or
yeah, naturally, no,
okay,
naturally, yeah, yeah. She also her her major she was like basically like a dietitian, and she was like in the hair, skin, and nails. So she would like make her own conditioners at the house, like
that's what we do.
hair,
Hmm.
hair remedies and stuff like that. So she was more that type of woman.
Yeah, self care came to the forefront, huh?
Hmm.
What
And
you'll notice too, as you when you go natural, it forces you to start finding your own way of taking care of your hair. You don't want to go to the store and purchase things because you know, a lot of what's on the shelves in the stores is not really made for your hair.
Exactly. And I just want to say, I do not go to get my hair done. I've always done my hair myself.
Yeah, that's another layer of this too, because there are some folks who wear locks that have to go to the shop every month and get a retwist. Because I saw my mother retwisting her own hair, never going to the shop. At least not just in the beginning. You went to
In the
that
beginning,
place.
when I had the struggle, what
Yeah,
did he call
the
them?
struggle twist.
The struggle twist. Yes, I did. I had to. I wasn't acclimated to the process. But once my hair locked, I've never gone to get my hair done. No one's put their hands in my crown.
And that was why it was important for me when I started my locks. I made the decision to have my mom do them because even though I knew I wanted them and I had been saying it, I had been saying it to you for a few months that I wanted to start my locks. And then when I came home 2 years ago
For your birthday.
for my birthday, I sat right on the floor in between her legs and let her
Just like when she was 4 years old.
and let her two strand twist my hair. And I went back to Texas, and I've been maintaining my locks ever since. I also can say that I have never had anybody do my hair, although I am considering it at some point because I do want to just to see what a quote unquote professional will do differently than what I do to my locks. I'm curious about that. I haven't made the decision to do it yet, but it is something that I'm thinking about. But I do like having that flex, like you said, of you know your hair better than anybody else would. So you are the arbiter of what your locks become.
That's not why I don't go.
No. But I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
you, in general, nobody knows your head better than you do.
Right.
And so I think that had a lot to do with why I said, well, I'm going to do it myself too.
I just don't want other people's energy
In my head, yeah, in my scalp.
I wonder if people even consider that. Even men with barbers, got to be careful because you don't know what people are experiencing and going through. But when they put their hands in your scalp, in your head, that energy transfers. And I never wanted anybody else's energy on me.
Men are serious about their barbers. They don't cheat on their barbers.
No, I'm just saying, even
Just
but
the one.
but
know
what I
you're saying.
love, is men are dedicated and loyal to their barbers.
Yeah,
Women, we shift a lot.
we do.
And I can't have that. I'll keep my own energy in my crown, on my crown. I don't want that. Not to mention how much they charge you because of the length of your. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
yeah, I was just about to say, y'all are actually smart for not going to go get your dreads retwisted and all of that, or your locks retwisted, because the locticians are making a killing off of that. Like I've seen some of the prices that they charge to do it, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, and then you just imagine like how many heads they do a day.
Yeah.
Man, like that's a lot of money that they can make within a week or even a month. So,
And listen,
y'all are smart for that.
up to them.
Because it is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. And people don't want to do the work, but I've never been afraid to do work. I put in work. The rewards are priceless.
Yeah.
And y'all are absolutely right. When y'all said that guys are very particular and picky about their barber and they're loyal because Toya knows this, but I'm originally from Texas, but now I currently live in Ohio. And I remember when I first moved here, like I couldn't find a barber that I felt like would do a good job on cutting my hair. So like I had went like months without a haircut to the point where I was looking like crazy. And then I finally found like the perfect barber. I felt like they knew how to cut my, style or texture of hair. And I was like so relieved because I was like, no, I'm not gonna just see anybody straighten I have y'all mess up my hair. And I have like waves and stuff, and I'm very particular about that. And I didn't want them to mess them up, so I was like, nope, I'm not gonna get my hair cut until I find the barber
That
from.
about men, how they lock in. I pay attention to that kind of stuff. Men lock in. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, I'm gonna find somebody that fixes it, and nobody else can do any better. Like you lock in that loyalty factor. Women should take note of that.
Well, third, I appreciate you joining us today. If you don't have anything else, I'm going to let you go. But I want to give you the floor one more last time.
Okay, definitely enjoyed coming up here speaking with you and Mama Toya. Shout out to y'all. I actually like y'all dynamic of doing streams together. Y'all should probably do more of these together going forward whenever y'all have time.
Thank
I like y'all energy, y'all dynamic as mother and daughter is very unique, and I don't think I've ever seen that before on YouTube. So this is definitely different and something quite interesting for me, and definitely like to see this more often going forward from you guys. But also. I would just say when it comes to women overall, I think women have to figure out what looks best on them, what looks good on them. Because I think a lot of times what happens, and I get it, women can be influenced by other women and
Mm-hmm.
the type of look that they have or hairstyle that they have, and so they like, okay, my favorite celebrity or my favorite person, whatever, a homegirl, she got this look, maybe it look good on me, and then you try to look and it doesn't quite fit you like you thought it would. So yeah, I'm from Houston, Eric. I'm from Houston, and I think that once women find out what look actually fits their style, their face, or just their facial structure or whatever, I think once you find that out and you kind of like build off of that, your confidence off of that, I think that's when women will kind of like be more in a better position of what hairstyle works on them versus which ones don't. So I think they should kind of like more or less do that. Don't necessarily go for like the
the
trendy
herd
hairstyles.
mentality.
Yeah, the trendy hairstyles. Go for what looks good on you or what brings out, I guess, your best facial features or whatnot. That's what I would have to say to that. But that's it.
Love that.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
Y'all have a
third point.
wonderful
I know
day.
you can hear the Houston in his voice, Eric.
Yeah.
I couldn't hide it if I wanted to. And what's crazy is when I first got up here to Ohio, everybody was like, as soon as I started talking, opening my mouth, people was like, "Man, where you from? I know you're not from around here." I'm like, "No, I'm from Texas," and they was like, "Okay, we can tell." And so yeah, but
Yeah, Eric
y'all,
said he's from South Park. I don't know where that is.
nah, I'm not from South Park, but I ain't too far from there though.
Okay.
But y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend, the rest of y'all Sunday, and I'll see you
It was
again when you
nice
go live
talking
for
to
you.
you.
And by the way, real quick before I go to it, I actually like the locks on you. I think it actually fits your style and your personality. And I've seen you like with short hair before. You actually are one of those women that I was just talking about earlier, where I was saying like some women could rock different type of hairstyles, and they could look good with multiple hairstyles. And I think you're that type of woman. But unfortunately, not all women can do that. Like I said, some women look good with short hair, some look good with long hair, and some could look good with both. It just depends on I guess how your face is shaped, how your head is shaped, and those type of factors, facial features, all of that. But I like you with the locks, and I think you should keep it up.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what she looks like when they're long. I've never seen my daughter with long hair, so
Yeah, I'm not really a long hair kind of girl, but we're gonna see. We're gonna let them grow out for a little while.
Don't get discouraged. Matter of fact, um, I'll see how I could reach out to you. To actually, there's somebody else that I follow on here who she's from like the New York area. She actually just started her lock journey, I think like maybe a couple years ago. And she's made like a lot of progress, and she gives kind of like tips on how to like grow them and stuff like that. I can probably send you her link or whatever if you want.
I appreciate that, and thank you
Okay.
again for joining us today, Third Ward. The conversation has been great.
No problem. All right, I'll catch you around later, Toya. And once again, it was a pleasure talking to you as well, Mama Toya.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.
Yeah, thanks, Third Ward. Shout out to Third Ward. I'm just going to repost the link again if anybody else wants to chat with us before we wrap up the conversation and get on with the rest of our Sunday. Um, Indigo Flow came in the building. K Spade came in the building. All Star G, Lion 917. Um, so thank you, everybody, for hitting the like button and choosing to spend some time with us on your Sunday today as we talk about locks and the implications thereof. Um, yeah, for me, I'm actually pleased with the progress I've made in the 2 short years it's been since I started locking my hair. I love the way they look. I love the length I've retained. But like my mom said, I've never really had long hair. I've let my hair get just about shoulder length before I usually will cut it off again anyway. So this is the longest it's been in a while. And then I even said to my mom the other day, I think I'm interested in letting them get down to shoulder length before I either comb them out or cut them and restart them. Because one thing about locking your hair is you learn even more about it in that locked state. So now that I've learned about what locks are and how they are with my hair and my texture, I think I would go about starting my locks differently than doing the 2-strand twist because some of them are loose at the ends, and then I have a couple of them that just refuse to lock. So I'd be curious to see what it looks like if I comb coil my locks to start with, and then began maintaining them from that state. But we have a while before we get to that point. I'm going to keep them like this for at least the next 2 years before I make any decisions on making changes. Because like I said earlier, I really do feel a sense of freedom that I've never felt before. And who knew that hair could provide that for you? So I want to keep this going. Also, it's not too shabby looking exactly like my mom.
What do you mean?
Like when I look at that picture of you right there, I look like that right now. When you had shorter locks. Yeah,
the cartoon.
yeah, that's that picture of you. That was, yeah, I definitely look like that right now. And so
This was
99.
4 years.
Yeah,
They weren't even locked yet.
yeah.
It took me a long time for mine to lock.
And that's the thing I think most people don't realize, that you feel like you go start your locks and your locks will just be locks tomorrow. No, that's not the case. It takes your hair some time, depending on your hair texture, your density. All of that plays a role into what they become and how they lock. Everybody's got to go through the struggle twist phase, the budding phase where they're all messy and poofy and not really uniform yet. And then eventually they start to drop, and once they have weight to them, they kind of become what they will be. So I'm still pretty much at the early phases of it. It's only been 2 years, but I feel like I'm out of the budding phase for sure. So, no, I don't mind you posting the link at all, Third. Please go ahead and do that. Um, is there anything else you want to add to the topic? Yeah, yeah. If anybody has any questions before we close out the stream, or if you want to join us and say a couple things, hit the link or put the question in the comments tab.
Is the person that was on earlier still available to talk?
Yeah, I kind of want to give him a second chance. AB
Me
Media,
too.
if you're still in the building, hit the link.
He was chiming in on me asking like the real truth about like how you really feel.
Yeah.
Do you really prefer a woman who has to put on and take off?
Right.
And really just show up authentically how she is. It doesn't even have to be locks, but just natural hair. A person that doesn't wear makeup all the time. Because I don't want to false advocate. I do wear eyeshadow because I love my eyes, so I want to play them up when I go out. So I do wear eyeshadow, but that's about it, honestly. I don't wear foundation, blush. I don't get into all of that.
And y'all know I wear makeup. I don't wear it every day, but I do enjoy wearing it sometimes. I like playing up just the features that I have naturally. I don't cake on a bunch of makeup, but sometimes I will put on some foundation in addition to the eyeshadow, in addition to the mascara. Um,
Oh yeah,
because
I wear mascara.
because we both have big lips, I don't think we do a whole bunch
No,
of lip
we don't
color.
do a lot of with these lips. Lord. Although most people will pay a lot of money to have the lips that we have naturally, I don't want to draw too much attention to it.
Yeah, like every now and then I will, but you know, even with that, I'm careful about what colors I wear because when I wear a red lip,
Her
it's
lips
like,
are big. Like her lip. Oh my God.
really,
Yes, your lips are big. Your lips are
Ma.
bigger than mine. You got your dad's lips.
Ma.
You have your father's lips.
My lips are not bigger than yours.
Yes, they are. And wider.
Oh my gosh, they're wider, but they're not bigger. We have the same size lips. We just have different mouth shapes. Anyway, Third said, Mama Toya is very graceful and elegant. I see where you get it from.
Aw.
Shout out to us. Yeah, I used to. I had a friend in college named Bridget. We used to call each other soup cooler sisters because we had big lips. But I mean, look, this is what I got. You know, this is what I got.
At my big age, when I was growing up, I hated my lips because people made fun of them. That and my last name. Lips being this big were, yeah, that wasn't cute when I was growing up. I was called liver lips, bubble lips. Yeah, it wasn't cute. And just think now people pay to have lips. It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy.
The grass is always greener on the other side. But yeah, I don't have any regrets. I love
No regrets.
I love who I've grown into. I love who I show up as. And so there's really nothing anybody could say to change that. I just thought it was worth having a conversation because, like I said, this man felt so entitled to tell me how he felt about my hair. Yeah, because I'm just like, neither one of us is interested in each other. So why are you telling me? Why do you feel so compelled?
See, me showing up as a Scorpio would have been like, look at you. Bless your heart.
Yeah, yeah. The cynical one says she has rather thin lips. She said they're borderline white people's lips.
Probably.
But that's the thing. There's some black people who just don't have full lips. Some of us don't have Negro features, and you know that's indicative of being an American. You know, a lot of our culture got watered down, and you know it doesn't make you any less black.
Don't let them. I'm gonna shut
Yeah, but our features
Some
are
of that
what
is
make us
purposeful.
unique. Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
less black. Oh, thank you.
Right.
Till they have grandbabies.
Yeah.
Oh, about that.
Right. Right.
You can run, but you can't hide. I choose to revel in my Negroidianism. Isn't that what Wendy used to say? Negroidian?
Negroidian. Yeah.
Yeah.
She got that from Michael Jackson.
Oh, I thought
Oh no,
Splabu.
Splabu.
Splabu. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, the Negroidian. Yeah,
I think Wendy's.
that was her.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wendy Williams.
Shout out to Wendy Williams, indeed. Indeed.
Put that where?
Back there. That's Vivica Fox.
I know.
How y'all feel about Vivica Fox with a BBL? Okay, good night.
Yeah, we're not on that.
Okay,
not
good
on that
night.
type of time.
Okay,
No,
okay.
we're not on
I'm
that
just
type of time.
look. You said put that where, and Vivica came to mind, and the first thing I saw was yeah, that.
Yeah.
And she's older than me.
I know.
Digressing. All right, I have to finish cooking, guys. So I'm leaving it to Toya.
All right. Thanks again for showing up for us. We will enjoy the rest of our Sunday as long as you do too. And I'm sure we'll come back to you guys soon with another podcast. I'm not sure what the subject will be yet,
But if you have any requests, you can certainly leave them in the comment section. Shout out to the replay gang if you're here. Um, I look forward to discussing more with you guys and just kind of delving into some more of these topics from a standpoint of a mother daughter duo. And yeah, I appreciate you spending some time with us. We never take much more than an hour of your time, and this is not going to be any different. I am getting ready to put some clothes on and get meet up with my bestie. I think we're gonna go have some sushi. If you behave, I will behave too. The cynical one. Although I don't know if there's much fun in behaving. We'll try it. How about we try it and we'll report back our results, okay? All right, y'all. You know how I like to end my streams. It's always with peace, ease, and whatever you please. And until then, I'm out.